That music's cold again. That's another Sid special for you. The timer. Anyway, enough of that. Tottenham Hotspur time. England are in the final, but it's Tottenham Hotspur time. We're going to talk all Tottenham. Not very long because there's not much to talk about, really, is there? But we'll do that anyway. And join them in house, you'll soon see. But we're going to put the intro on, and I like this intro. Hello, I'm Sam Spurs for Life. Welcome to PRTV Spurs, aka Paxton Road TV, which will still be available, but not live streaming as of 1st of August. But welcome to the stream. Welcome to episode number 134, I believe it is, of Talking Points. Are you feeling as sick as Troy? You know what I like to do. Bit of play on words, people. Bit of play on words. Yeah, Troy Pout's gone. To join me in talking about all things Tottenham, I'm trying to find the right button here. There it is. And we've also got one other person. There he is as well. In the house, we got Sid Spurs, Darius 3K, Sean Hurl. Good evening.
Good
and
evening.
For some of us, England are in the final. It's happy days. For some, it might not be as happy. Those particularly the north of England or north of England. On the other side of the border, are you happy, Sean?
I'm fine about it. It doesn't bother me one way or other. I mean, I'm not Scots, so I was born in England, but I travel under an Irish passport, so I'm pretty ambivalent. If England lose, I will have a little slight chuckle to myself, but it's not going to be the end of the day. I've always been club before country.
Yeah,
always been club before country.
How you feeling about England? I was like, I wasn't really that interested. A little game for and then Ollie Watkins. I was like, it was a great goal. But what you see? What are you saying? Sunday, looking forward to it?
It's just another day in paradise, mate. I'm not. You know what? It's a final. That's. I'm not as excited because man, that second half was fucking shit again. But they're in the final. Let's see what happens. I'm not expecting anything exciting, to be fair. You know, but
okay,
it's a final, and you know what? The passionate ones that want to enjoy it, let them enjoy it. Let's hope England win.
And that's two fairly controlled answers. Darius, what are you saying about the final Sunday? We was watching the game together, the semi-final. As Sid has said, it weren't the most exciting of performances. Yeah, it was an exciting finish, but we're in the final.
Again, I said at the start of the tournament, or let's say after game 3, I said it will be a lot better for England to go out earlier than to go all the way and not get there again. And for me, the team that plays the best football wins a tournament most of the time. And Spain have been the best team and won every single game. They beat France. They've beat Germany. Why are they going to beat us? So for me, I personally am not going out to watch the final. If we win, my shameless self will jump on a bus and go to town and celebrate with everyone, because that feeling of losing is not everyone being drunk and England losing is not a feeling that, I like to be around. So I will wait until the game's done, because I know it's not going to be a fun game to watch either. And yeah, I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to bet against them. I'm not going to say I want England to lose, but I think you're very much crazy if you think that England have any sort of good chance of winning if Spain bring what they've brought the whole tournament. So, yeah, I mean, it's a final. Anything could happen, but Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams versus Kieran Trippier and whoever, Kyle Walker, I think it will be probably. So I'll let you decide what's going to happen in those duels.
And throw in a bit of Olmo.
Danny Olmo just to take the piss, and Rodri just to command that midfield. You've lost your mind if you think we've got a good chance.
Listen, if you're like, right, okay.
What's your thoughts?
I'm a football coach and I'm a football manager. Now, again, you do have favourites. That's obvious. Spain would be favourites for this game. But if I was a coach and I was going into that game thinking, oh, well, Spain, the better team, they're going to win. Sport doesn't work like that. Sport doesn't. That's the good thing about sport. They're not going to think that, are they? No. Well, like I said, if fans go into a bit of interest, if it was Spurs in the final, I'm sure all of us would have a very different viewpoint. You know, we might think that Spurs were not the favourites against Real Madrid, let's say, but you'd certainly be up for it. And I'm up for the game. Only because we got to the final. I wasn't up for any of the other games because it was just like, oh, God, we should be getting to the final with the teams and the players that we've got.
Exactly.
But one thing I will say about Gareth Southgate, he got it right in the semi-final. And everything that he's done up to that point, which people were giving him grief about, not being able to make the right choices, substitutions, kind of like almost react to changes in formation. Well, it's got us to the final, effectively. And that's what is... second final, definitely second, third semi-final at least. So in 4 competitions, not too bad for somebody that hasn't really done anything at club level. Anyway,
relegated at club level.
Another fact is he is the most experienced Englishman. Oh my God. You've got a shirt on there, isn't you? That's the cricket one. It's the 3 lines cricket, isn't it? That's the cricket one, isn't it?
How's it the cricket one?
Is it? No, it's not.
No, of course it's not. Have you not seen that England kit before?
I thought, you know what
that's my favourite England kit.
I thought it looked like, anyway. Phone. All right. I didn't even know. That's my favourite England. I do like that England kit.
It's nice.
Not sure about the person on the back, but I do like that England kit.
Do you know what?
Anyway.
When it's my son's actually. When he ordered it,
what?
He didn't realize that Foden wasn't number 20 because we didn't know what numbers they were. So he ordered it.
Yeah,
before
exactly.
Euro.
They change it every tournament, don't they?
Yeah, but
it's because I've not seen that. I didn't even know. That's how much I've been paying attention to the kits.
It's nice. It's a nice.
I think the kits have been beautiful. Adidas have done a great job. I mean, the Germany kit was amazing. So, is this what we're talking about during
bloody hell?
Tottenham talking points?
What is this? Is this the Eve Basuma hour?
Oh my goodness me.
Fashion, no. You concentrate on your football.
Will Lancashire, 19-year-old in our academy, Premier League 2 winner, blah, blah, blah. 19-year-old has just signed a new contract with Spurs, 5-year deal. On the flip side, Troy Parrott has now left the club for... Who's he gone to? Darius, his Dutch club?
AZ Alkmaar.
Troy Parrott's gone. Hence the reason for the title of this show. Did you like that? Did you not like it? Not really?
I
mean, it was all right. It was all right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put it up again so people can see the mind and genius of me. Are you feeling as sick as Troy? Anyway, it didn't work when I said it. Anyway, right. Troy Parrott's gone. Will Lancashire signed up.
Did he sign the contract?
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, Will Lancashire signed up until 2029.
Yeah, 5-year contract for 19-year-old. So I'm hoping that, again, we've seen a steady influx of young players. Timo Werner aside, Archie Gray, obviously, Lucas Bergvall's come in. Will Lancashire's now re-signed up. It's refreshing to see that there's at least a thread of continuity, shall we say. However, and this is where we get to do our talking points. Is this enough? If we had to say the transfer window closed now to get us, I'm not even going to say win the league because I'm forgetting about what Anne said about it. I'm saying as a top 4 team, we have to be obviously trying to improve on last season where we were 5th. And top 4, in my opinion, would be that. As I've always maintained, to win a trophy next year would be even better than getting top 4. It depends on how they approach it. And I think they could. what's your thoughts, guys, on the transfer window so far, Mr. Hurl? As your thoughts? I know you're looking forward to this beginning of the season, as we all are, and yeah, there's still some signings to be done, whether that will be the likes of Eze or not, or whether. Are you happy so far with the? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's as much about pruning the squad as building the squad, and I think we were a squad which was in need of rejuvenation. So I welcome the arrival of Bergvall and Gray. It seems that the deal for Emerson Royale has kind of has hit the skids with AC Milan. Yeah. So who knows? Yeah, I'm quite happy so far. I mean, nothing's going to happen before Sunday. Got two European finals, and we've got two international finals, I should say, and nothing's going to happen until they're completed. You know, so I'm not panicking. I'll get to see them firsthand next Wednesday because they're actually making a visit to Scotland, and I happen to have a ticket to go to hear them play Hearts. So I'll be there.
Is that our first pre-season game against Hearts next week, isn't it?
Well, first, yeah, proper one. I believe they're having a closed doors one tomorrow at the training ground, but that'll be the first proper one, yeah. So a chance to see Bergvall and Gray anyway.
Sean,
Mr. Sid, go on. So I was going to go to you anyway. Go on.
Sean, next Wednesday, can you do me a favour? Can you put your hand on your heart and tell us how the game went?
Yes,
no.
I will send you a little video recording at the end of the game to say what I thought.
Good man. Do you know what? We've had two signings.
Before I stop you there, because this is important. JJ, thank you very much. I like you a lot. There you go. That's all I wanted to say.
God, soaking up. Soaking up, as they say up here. Soaking up.
Yeah. We've got two signings, remember, guys? We've had two signings, yeah? Archie Gray and the sleeve signing, yeah? You got to mention the sleeve signing, isn't it? We don't know who it is yet, but apparently it's a massive deal. So, you know what? More money coming in for him. There's nothing much we can say, really. Emerson Royal one's just it's gonna stretch out till the beginning of the season, isn't it? He's there, he's not there, he's there, he's not there. Oh, Saudis are coming. They're watching. Okay, it's back on. Oh, Saudis are watching. So I don't know what's going to go on with that. There's one.
Don't forget him. You can't forget Timo. Sid, add him to your conversation, please.
Yeah, it's a loan, isn't it? But yeah, obviously. But there's one that's circulating today. I don't know if you guys have read it, which obviously I want your opinions on it. And I've got my opinion on it. But this Marcus Edwards situation, apparently we've got, is it 35% or whatever, 50% or whatever sell-on clause? But guess who's favourites to sign him now?
Crystal Palace.
Oh, really?
Yes. Crystal Palace are looking at it, right?
Don't get caught up in it.
What, the Elise replacement?
Don't get it caught up.
Elise or Eze replacement, I don't know. But hear my theory. This is my theory, yeah? We're going to end up getting Eze for £60 million and he's going to be shit. And Edwards is going to rule the roost at Crystal Palace. And then Spurs fans are going to say, fucking hell, what's going on? Why didn't we get him for 10 million? Well, yeah. But I've just got this funny feeling, if that does happen, Edwards is going to run right there and we're going to end up with a poor Eze. That's just my thoughts. I don't know about you guys.
No. Before I come to Daz, I can't have that. I'm hoping now at least we'd have done some due diligence. Sean said it right. I think there's no any of those players that are away on international duty aren't going to be entertaining any sort of moves now. They've said that quite clearly. There's still the Conor Gallagher link. Obviously, the Eze link's very strong. Still talk about Ivan Toney as well. Ollie Watkins, I think he's put another 5-10 million on his price tag anyway, so I don't think we were going to go for him. There's plenty of players that I've seen at this the Euros that are, that have definitely got something about them. That Nico Williams at Spurs, obviously Lamine Yamal, that's different levels. But in terms of players that are available, there's one or two that you think, yeah, particularly in England squad. But the Conor Gallagher link is still there, but I don't want that. Eze, would I want him for 65 mil or whatever they're reporting? We'd have to get rid of some players, and I think, let's talk about that in a bit. But Darius, before we talk about the outs, because there's not much incomings at the moment, obviously with the big competitions, what's your thoughts on so far?
I guess if you're looking at who we've definitively signed, it's a good start. If you're looking at the players who we've been linked to, I think it's looking promising. Again, we are in a time where I don't think anything's really going to happen in the next week or so, like Sean said, until at least Sunday, and then obviously you still have to negotiate, and time still has to move on. So it's not going to be literally Monday we've signed a player. So I reckon within the next 2 weeks, because it does seem like Ange wants his players in early. I don't know what the exact date is that we go to South Korea, but I assume he would want the majority of his new squad or his squad that he wants to be there. So I think we'll probably have another two more forward players. And from what it looks like, it isn't going to be a striker, which, to be honest, is what I kind of said. I said, if we're going to take a risk on not signing a player in a position, it'd probably best be striker, because we have a lot of, young up and coming strikers already playing in their prime that we can sort of lean onto, and to get into quality forwards with the links that we've been sort of, the players we've been linked to, I feel like that would help us out a lot. And again, we still have to look at, what's going to happen towards the defensive end in terms of backup fullbacks and stuff like that. But I do really think that the players that we're being linked to, the likes of Eze, the likes of Pedro Neto, the likes of Desiree Doué, the likes of, who else have we been linked to? I've seen a few. Well, again, not a forward, but that looks like we'll throw a. They look like they want to try and take advantage of a situation at Chelsea there.
All right, let me throw this out there then, and everybody can have a chat on it. Ivan Toney.
I'd take it. Especially because it's such a Tottenham signing as well. I mean, final year of his contract, get him for maybe £40 million, £45 million. English in his prime. I think that would be a good signing.
Sure, would that fit? Would you think that fits the Ange system of play? Because we have to look, and this is what I've probably been a little bit not naive about, a bit guilty of, because of obviously the Timo Werner's kind of like done me in. But I'm assuming then that Ange's buying players that's going to fit his system in terms of what he wants to do, and that's obvious. Does Ivan Toney then fit the bill? Because I don't think he fits the bill.
I don't think he fits the bill, actually. No, because I don't agree. I don't think he's mobile enough to fit the system. I don't think he's quick enough. Let's not say that he's slow, but I don't think he's the kind.
The word I would use is not dynamic, is what I would say. Because what I mean by that is.
And I also feel, I keep coming back to it, it's the character thing, and just put a lot of stake in character thing, and I think
I can get over that.
This thing hanging over him, kind of, I can't see it passing the Ange sniff test, if you like.
The thing with that is, I think I'm going to have to get over that. The reason I say that bit is because we've got players in our squad, and I want to get onto it where we do get onto it, but obviously we've got lots of things which kind of darting everywhere. But, some of the attitudes I've seen of some of our players when they've kind of, for instance, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, at one point during the beginning of last season, probably in the Antonio Conte, he didn't look like he was bothered. It was like the attitude. We was talking about attitudes of players. Obviously, we've had Ndombele at our club. We've seen the likes of GLC. There's a load of players who don't seem to have the right attitude. And yet maybe some of them have been moved on and moved out. But that can change if you're playing. If you're playing, I don't think you necessarily have that attitude all the time. And I think for those players, because they weren't playing, that's why you're maybe going to get that label. I would assume if Ivan Toney is going to come to Spurs, he's going to be playing all the time. So it doesn't necessarily mean that might not rear its head as much as if he wasn't playing. Now, I completely agree. If he bought, let's say we do buy Ivan Toney and he's a bit part to Richarlison, I'd probably have a word or two. So I wouldn't put it out the question if the player had to say something because of that, because he feels he's better than them. But it's a hard one because you do want players that are going to conform to a degree, but you do also need personality.
I think you'd be quite silly to turn down Ivan Toney. He's not to say he's not dynamic, but he can get around the pitch. You know, he offers something different. I understand what you're saying about and the way Ange plays. I 100% agree with you both. He does favor sort of that striker's a little bit, you could say, sacrificial in the sense of he has to do that hard work and press to win the ball back or initiate the press. But for me, players like Ivan Toney are quite rare. You know, you don't really get somebody like that who can guarantee you sort of 10, 15 goals a season. And also play quite similar to the way that Kane plays. And I think for the price that you could get him for, even if it didn't work out, I think you could probably make your money back on Ivan Toney if he wanted to leave a year, 2 years later. So for me, I feel like it would be a bit of a no-brainer because you could have players like, you know, Veliz and Scarlett play understudy to him, and, you know, Will Lancashire as well. You could have him play understudy as well. I feel like it would be quite silly to see Ivan Toney go to a Premier League club like, you know, a United, well, maybe not United now they've signed Xerxes, but, you know, a Chelsea. Who else could he go to? Could you see him go to Newcastle if they might have to sell Isak? Like, I feel like we would regret seeing Ivan Toney go to a Premier League club. I know I would, but that's how I look at it. I think that's a signing that you can't really turn down. He is of that quality.
I agree with you, Darius. I think if he is available and we're looking for a striker that's going to guarantee 15, 20 goals a season, right? Yes, I can understand what you were saying, Sam and Sean, but this is a striker and this is what we missed last season. Sonny won't need to play there. Sonny can go on the left, putting your man on the bench, Sam. And you've got a player who can score goals, who can hold up the ball. Doesn't really need to be 100% speedster because not all the time are we going to be doing that. So you can use him as a target man. You can use him to lay off and stuff like that, which he's very good at. Man can take a penalty as well. And I agree with Darius. I think if he's available at 45, 50, 40 million, you'd have to go in for him because otherwise, who are you going to go for? I don't want another youngster. We've already got Scarlett. We've already got Veliz. We've just
Lancashire's
got
just signed a contract.
We've got Lancashire.
Donnelly.
We're not going to play these lot, and we've had this discussion many times. Unless you're going to play these youngsters, bring them in like United did with obviously Greenwood. They've done it with Makeda back in the days. Other teams have done it. We don't do that. So I think the next step is to get an actual recognised scorer who you know is going to get you 15, 20 goals guaranteed. Maybe he's not the fit. Maybe he is. We don't know. I mean, Ange would have to have that discussion and would have to sit down with him or make that phone call. And the conversation will dictate whether Ange thinks he is for Spurs. And that's what I think. And I think if he's available, then I think we need to put a bid in because them kind of players, like Darius said, you know, they're once in a while, they come once in a lifetime or whatever. He's on form. We all know what he can do. If he can do it, yeah, because we're not going to get Watkins, right? Watkins is never going to happen, right? You know.
Let me give you some stats to add on to this because I just got up transfer market here. So Brent, his overall career by stats as club wise, 418 appearances, 169 goals. Now that doesn't sound as impressive until you break it down a little bit more. So for Brentford, 141 games, 72 goals. For Peterborough, 94 games, 49 goals. And then before that, when he was at Northampton Town, it was 60 games, 13 goals. So Scunthorpe United, 35 and 15. So that's when he started to score. So obviously it's in recent times in the recent clubs that he's been at, particularly obviously at Brentford, where you're seeing him. Now, with the player, everybody's got great points. He does score. He does. He's 28 now. He'll be 29 in March. He's not going to come cheap. Brentford aren't going to give him away. You know, you're going to have to pay some money. So if you pay that guy, let's say, I don't know, 50 mil, 60 mil, is that what we're thinking?
I'm reckon 40.
40 mil, maybe 45 mil.
Because he's only got 1 year left.
Got
So
a year left on his deal.
Yeah.
Okay, year left of this deal. You give him what? What if I was that player? This is probably one of my big contracts I'm going to get, and also one of my last contracts potentially on a big scale. So he's going to probably want 3, 4, 5 years. He's not going to come for anything less than 3 years. I would imagine that, and there's got to be some add-ons. Don't know how much resale value there's going to be, if that's what we should be looking at. Is he going to turn a knob that much that he's going to go and get us to 20, 25 goals that we need to replace Kane with? He hasn't done it in his career so far, so why is he going to get better? We've also got a number of games that we're going to play. It's not specifically we want him for the league. We're going to have to, chop it up a little bit, play him in Europe. How well has he done in Europe? Well, we can only go by his international career of England to kind of say he could play at that level, but he's only been a bit part of England. Is he going to be ready at that stage, that level, European football level? I don't know. And it's the actual fact of coming to Spurs. It just seems that players who have this, they don't do really well at Spurs. He's going to do fantastically well in the forward areas. They don't tend to. Now, I don't know if Ivan Toney would want to come to Spurs anyway, given his Arsenal links. But there's a few too many factors in there that I'd be like, we could probably do better. I think with the money that.
What's better for you then? Who's better for you?
I wouldn't necessarily spend it on a person like him. I would go for more of a forward type player that can play across the lines. Now, if you're going to ask me to pick a name out of the sky, that's going to be difficult. But I'd want someone that could play out on the wide areas more so, as well as down the middle. Who did I watch a lot? Isak to me, and I know he does play centrally, but he looks like he's someone that can run the channels. But we're not going to get a player like him. It's the age one. It's the age I'm thinking about. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah.
So if you saw him go to a rival club, would you be angry, or would you be worried if you saw him go to a team that we're competing around?
Let Sean come in first. No, we can all answer that if you want. Go on, Sean. Who's going to say something?
Well, no, I was just thinking. So you're quite happy spending 40, 45, 50 million if Brentford agreed to sell him to us at that price, which, given our recent negotiating history, I'm not necessarily thinking that they're going to let us get him away with that price. But then I want to say 2 words to you, Sandro Tonali. Say in 2 months' time, he's caught up in a betting scandal. And we all know that gambling is a terrible, terrible addiction, one of the worst addictions to go. And the guy has already spent 10 months out or 8 months out. Are you prepared to accept that you've pissed away £50 million on a player that you can't use for a whole season?
I think, Sean, on that one, I think they'll do their homework, won't they? They'll make sure. Angie's not stupid, is he? He's going to make sure. He's probably already looked at that. He's going to put that in the back of his mind. And when he's doing the negotiations, he's going to put all that in there. I agree with you.
I bet he is.
Spending 50 million and then something like that. You're right. I would absolutely be screwing. But I
would be absolutely livid if we spent £50 million on a player that we can't use for a season.
100%. I 100% agree with you. And that's why Ange and Lang and all them lot will come into it and they'll look at all that before they even make a move, even step forward an inch. They'll have all that worked out already and the probabilities and that. And
if he's attending sessions at Gambas Anonymous, things like that, fair enough.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't take the risk. Sorry. So you say he's not.
I just don't. I think this is, for me, this is like I don't like using the term, but it's like a luxury. I don't think it's a needed signing. I'm just saying if an opportunity came, I would be quite annoyed to see Tony at a different Premier League club.
How versatile do you think he is? And we'll just finish on Ivan Toney and then move on. How versatile do you think he is? Because I think Angie's looking for more versatile players that can play multiple positions because of the rotation in terms of the play. So you'd expect someone like Tony, who might start off being in that central area, needs to drift out into the wide areas.
He's not doing that. That's not his game.
And I don't think that's his game. So that's what I was going to say. I don't think that's his game. I don't think he's a striker that can get into the wide areas, but he's not running the channels all the time. He wants to have the ball. He'll have a good hold-up play, be involved in some of the link up, but he ultimately wants to get in and score goals. Now, I've not seen him. I don't know how many times I've seen him run past players, knock one in the top corner. It's kind of strange. I've not seen anything in him that I would say that's what I see as a trait. He's breaking in beyond them. I don't know. He's beating a man. His first touch is. It's almost like I dare to say it, a Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku is a great forward, but I've had this argument, but he's not the best footballer in the world. He's not the best footballer. But if you was to say, can he score you goals? Yeah, he scored everywhere he's been. And it looks from Ivan Toney's record that he can score goals, and he has obviously scored goals at Brentford and, as I mentioned, Peterborough. But I don't think he fits the system for that dynamic player. And I use that word again, because we're going to need it. We're going to need players to pop up in wide areas. The rotation of the team is going to need to be such that we're going to share the goals around. For 50 million, and it doesn't, I don't think we'd even get him for 50 million. I think it's too much money.
But you know what the flip side about this, about sharing the goals? Our midfield don't score goals, right? You got Son. That's about it, really. Even Brennan struggled last season. He got a few, but he struggled as well. Don't
he
you
did
think
score more goals last season than the season before when we had Harry Kane?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's not. We want him to be at the level where he was at Forest when he was banging them in left, right, and centre. The question is, and I don't know about you guys, if you agree or not, do we want a striker who's going to just score goals for fun, or do you want a striker who's going to be happy to share the goals with everybody else when we know we haven't got many that can in the midfield? That's the question for me. Do we want a striker who's going to score week in, week out, or do you want someone just to play a big part and pass it around with everybody else to chip in?
So again, let me just add this. Someone like Haaland, who is a born goal scorer, they're moaning at Manchester City that he's not always involved. He's not quite a Manchester City player. But if you put him, and anybody said in world football, would you have Haaland in your team? 100% you take him. Doesn't matter what team you are. I would say most teams in the world, 99 out of 100 would say we're going to take Erling Haaland. Does he fit every system in the world? Of course he doesn't. Does he even fit Manchester City's way of playing? Not really necessarily, because they play with false nines, and he's not a player that's going to let's go out in a left wing, right? Doesn't do that. He doesn't play well with a two. So there's reasons why Haaland is a Haaland, and he is that player because he scores goals. That's why Manchester City bought him, because he's guaranteed to score goals. And that's what they said they needed, a goal scorer. But they didn't win the league because of Erling Haaland, in my opinion. So is he going to make that much difference if we get someone like an Ivan Toney? I don't think it would. I think we need as Spurs a player that's going to, yes, get us goals, but it's got that ability to maybe play elsewhere, because I think we're going to need players that are going to be versatile based on what I've seen Ange doing in the market so far. Bentancur is becoming a liability. Is he? Why is he becoming a liability?
Because he threw that bottle, didn't he, the other day? And have you seen the guys? He's cut one of his own backroom staff's head open when he threw that bottle into the crowd.
He's just been charged for bringing the game into disrepute today.
Yeah, has he been charged?
Yeah, he's been charged.
I mean, those Colombian fans were attacking his family. I'm not going to justify his actions.
Allegedly, yeah, allegedly.
But that area where the crowd were, was a family section. So you probably would see red if you not even if you saw
bottle into the crowd though. Come on, man, but
you can't do that.
When somebody throws a bottle onto the pitch, they go mental because the players might get injured.
Can't do that.
But he's throwing a bottle.
Rodrigo's had a close season to forget, hasn't he?
He has. Yeah, exactly.
You think about casting shade on the club captain, and now this. I mean,
exactly.
Don't know what he was thinking.
Again, I'm a bit of I don't like to use the word conspiracy theory. Truth seeker is the new phrase to be used for conspiracy theorists. I don't know if he's trying to engineer a way out of the club. And we don't know everything that goes on has been said. Obviously, they've kind of come out, and Son's come out and said blah, blah, blah about what was said about him. I'm not necessarily sure that that's been healed. He's not obviously back at the club yet. He's still obviously with Uruguay. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how that works. Because if anybody in the crowd had said what he'd said about Son, we'd all be up in arms about that.
We'd be banned.
Up in arms. We'd be up in arms. You'd be up in arms. You say,
would.
no, ban him for life.
You'd have your season ticket removed from you.
You would.
Exactly.
But it's almost like, as a player, no, it's a teammate. Oh, I'm not saying that any of us have had that attitude. It's like, oh, well, you might have just made a mistake. We don't have that same sort of, for fans or anybody that makes mistakes in general public, in general life. It's cancel culture these days. But yeah, it seems like we'll slide that one under the carpet. I don't think it's been slid under the carpet to a satisfactory degree. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if Bentancur goes. I wouldn't be surprised.
Especially with this, if he's been charged and there's a ban looming, then, and apparently he went off injured after 35 minutes as well.
Yeah,
so,
he did get injured.
Yeah, so
he got injured, but it was his own player that injured him.
Yeah, no, they went for a tackle, didn't they? Yeah.
My second favourite player in the world after Timo Werner is Emerson Royal. You must know that. Darius, do you think he's going to AC Milan? And why would he go? Why would they want him? That's what's doing my head.
You know what? As much as you say that, you have to think about what AC Milan to a Brazilian, first of all, means, and sort of what Emerson Royal brings to a team. Not just on the pitch, I'm saying.
Yeah.
On the pitch, he might not provide a lot. He still did do enough to warrant him staying for as long as he did. But you can clearly see that the character he is off the pitch, he's not disliked by anyone. Everybody pretty much loves him at the club, says positive things about him. All the managers, even, the likes of Conte, who tried to, not would I say get rid of him, but I think he didn't want him to start, still had the time for Emerson. And Emerson was willing to, I would never hate a player who was willing to try and get better. Do you know what I mean? Even though he might be shit. He might be shit, but he always wants to get better. And that's more than Ndombele ever could. No, but that's more than Ndombele ever could say. And you know what? To say that he could get a move for 20 million euros, we paid 27.5, I think, for him. If it was me, I think haggling over I think it's 5 million euros. I think haggling over 5 million euros is a little bit petty for this, in my opinion.
Apparently, they offered 15 plus add-ons. This is what I've heard. I don't know. Spurs are looking at 25 potentially. I don't know.
I think it's a little bit petty on our behalf. Some people may disagree. Some people may say we need to get as much money as possible for a player. But for me, he's not going to do nothing at the club. We may as well get him gone. Get at least 20 minutes. If you can get 15 plus add-ons and get maybe a decent backup right back, you might not even need to get backup right back with the likes of Archie Gray. So it feels like we've got the replacement in. I just think we should make the money and try and get put it towards more players. I don't see why we're haggling over 5 million euros.
Archie is not a right back.
He's not, but I'm saying backup.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not. So I think we'd have to go and buy a right back. But I agree.
You think we'd still go out and get a fullback?
I think so.
Fair.
I think so. But I agree with Darius. I think if we can, whatever money we can get for him, let him go. Because like you said,
go on, Sid.
I was going to say AC Milan. They've had Kaká, they've had Ronaldinho's, so they've Cafu. So they've had exactly. So Brazilians in AC Milan is married.
Thiago Silva.
Marriage made in heaven. Yeah. So let him go, man. We don't want to end up with these players at our club and we can't get rid of him because for 2 million, Daniel Levy held out because he's a man and I want the extra 2 million. I'm not going to sell him. Just let him go, man.
Listen, Darius, I'm going to come to you, Sean. Darius said something about, I've got time for a player who makes the effort. I don't give a toss whether he spent 10 million to get himself better. We should, 15 million they've offered, I'd have snapped their hands off. I'd have accepted 2 Domino's pizzas. To be honest with you, I'd accepted two large Domino's pizzas and call it quits.
Probably cost about 15 million.
And if they're going to deliver, and if they deliver them to me, job done. If I don't have to get out of my house to get them, job done. But the fact that we're trying to get 20 million, and again, we have to go by the media and all the reports and all the rest of it. They're probably in some sort of negotiation discussions now. I just think, yeah, he's only 25? Is he 25?
Yeah, around that.
So he's got the age on his side, but he's not a good footballer. But saying that, Cucurella, who's playing for Spain now, is at Chelsea. I had the same clowning about him, and he seems to be doing all right for his national team. So
he's not that bad. It's systems, isn't it? They had Cucurella was playing right back at one point for Pochettino. It's all about systems. I think, you know what? It didn't work out. Like you said, Sam, I'd have snapped your hand off at 15, but like, just why? Like,
yeah, but
that's my only thing. Why are we wasting time with 5 million?
If you were saying 15 million, what happens if it was 10 million and 5 million if he wins the Champions League? That's giving him away.
Yeah.
And
how many years he's got left on his deal? How many years he's got left on his contract?
I'm sure he's got 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Okay, fair.
I mean, he has a price. Dortmund are sniffing around. There's talk of a Saudi team are prepared to offer money for us, but their transfer window doesn't open for another 2 days. So, we don't need to be desperate. If AC Milan are playing poverty, even though they're in this new Champions League next year, then feck them. I'm not there to help them.
It's 26 in January. You'd be 26 in January.
2026
He's not old.
contract runs out.
And his contract runs out 2026.
Yeah,
so
he's
2
on
years.
40 grand a week. Saudis could offer him over 100 grand a week. So there you go.
Jeez.
He wants to go, as he said, he wants to go Milan. If all the reports are to be listened to and heard right, he wants to go to Milan. I'll be the same. He's got an opportunity to be playing. They're in the Champions League this year, right? AC Milan.
Yep.
So he's got an opportunity to go and play Champions League football, an opportunity to potentially win the league with AC Milan as well. I don't know what they've seen. Somebody's poked their scout in the eyes with bleach. I don't know what they've seen.
I don't think he'd go there and do bad though. I think he'd just be all right. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, I've got bias, and so therefore that has to be taken into consideration. But I've seen him at close quarters at Spurs. Remember that? So I've seen what he offers. I don't think he offers anything from a Spurs perspective. So we have to get him gone. We need to either give these young, because if he stays at the club, and we're not going to give him away, we don't get rid of him, he's going to be in and around players that are mates with him. And if you're not playing and you've got mates who are playing, it always happens. Oh, freaking boss is not doing this. It happens in football. Believe me. It doesn't matter how good you think the continuity of the squad is. If players are not playing, if they're anything about them, they're not happy. And he's spent over £1 million supposedly to get into this squad team. So he's not going to be happy if he's not playing and he's not allowed to go somewhere else. So what have we got left with? A player that's just knocking about, who then gets a game if we're desperate because we don't play the youngsters. We just got to get rid of him and play the backup that we've got. And if that is Archie Gray or if that's somebody else, do so. $9.99 and the cookies. Good. I'm good with that. Who else are we going to talk? What can we talk about?
And 2 years worth of wages as well.
Yeah, got to get him off the books. I just think, I'm joking.
But we have to pay 2 years worth of wages. That's his contract.
No, well, we'd have to. There's negotiations that have to be had. That has to be part of the negotiations now. I don't know what we paid on Dombele, if we paid him all of his money, because he was on a significant lot.
If he signs a new deal with a club, we still have to pay his wages.
Not if he signs a new deal, but if we want to get rid of him without on that.
Yeah. I don't think we'd not. If you're saying that Dortmund are linked with him as well, that makes sense to me that Dortmund would go for a player like him. If he's fetching offers from Dortmund and Milan, worst comes to worst, they'll sell him Saudi. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he's one of those players where I think in this situation, Sean is right now. I look at it because Spurs don't need to sell to AC Milan. We all want him gone because we know he doesn't provide anything for our team and going forward in the future. But if you look at it from a business perspective, from a club perspective, if they've got suitors in Europe and then they've got suitors in Saudi, they don't need to sell to anybody who's lowballing them. Unless Emerson really kicks up trees and says, I want to go Milan, please can I leave? Then
he says, I don't want to go Saudi. He might just turn around and say, I don't want to go Saudi.
There's been reports that he's a lot more open than Richarlison to the Saudi offers. So
possibly, but AC Milan have concretely said they want him in there. That's the whole reason why the Saudis in the back burner at the moment, from what I understand.
But they're also showing they don't want him that much because they're not prepared to pay the price.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be either. So I don't blame them. I don't blame AC Milan one bit for not wanting to pay £20 million or 25 million, because I would.
£20 million for a team that's in the Champions League is going to get £100 million guaranteed next year.
It's not
But
worth
AC
the
Milan
money.
Tight.
Okay.
They're tight anyway.
Right. I'm only going on about the player. Whether or not the value, market, all the rest of it, that's fine. Spurs don't want to lose money. I get you. But if you said this player's available,
I'm worried we'll be setting a trend where we're just giving our players away.
All right. Okay.
When it comes to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
I'll ask you this question. Knowing what you know about Emerson Royal, if he became available on the market, would you buy him for 20 to 25 million pounds? Any of you?
No.
100%. So why should the opposite be true for AC Milan? They know what a value and worth is for a player.
But they want him though, Sam. They want him.
Regardless, we want a lot of players we don't pay the money for.
It's a different league.
Exactly, but we want a lot of players that we won't pay the money for. We want supposedly Eze. We ain't paying the money for Eze. We want these other players. We're not paying. This is
maybe we will pay the money for Eze if we get £20 million for Emerson Royal.
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like
watch this space.
I feel like both, like, do you know what I mean? Both arguments, I hear what you're both saying. I feel like it's just one of those situations where, because he has so many suitors, it's not a case where it's like, I'm trying to think of an example of a player who's really only got like one link. I mean, even Højbjerg, you know, will probably have a few links after the Euros as well. It's not really, we don't really have a player who's got like his eyes set on one move and he's pushing for that move. And, you know, there's going to be suitors. So I don't think there's, if we get to deadline day and he's not sold, then I'm panicking. Put it like that. I think he'll be sold very, very soon. Put it like that.
Take the pizzas already, JJ said. Sorry, take the money already, JJ saying, not the pizzas. It's not worth the money. That's what I'm saying. But if he goes, I want him gone. Our Spurs going to offload him anyway. There's been talk about, we've been saying for ages this player needs to go. And now we're as Spurs, we're going to do what Spurs do to others. Oh, we're not going to pay that. Oh, sorry, we're not going to accept that. But we have to get this player out of the squad, because if he stays, he's going to be part of whatever is. And they're not going to just put him in to play with the under whatever.
They'll do a dyer on him.
So he'd have to be sent out on loan.
I've seen from Ange now, he won't play. Like, Ange has proven, like, if a player's not in his plans, unless it gets desperate, like Dyer, it got desperate where we had no centre-backs, he ain't going to play him. He ain't afraid to do that. So, none of this is going to make any sort of traction, in my opinion, until Sunday. Sunday's gone. Is it both finals on Sunday?
Both finals? What do you mean?
Copper
and
Euros.
I think so.
I think Copper's on early hours of Monday morning, yeah.
Monday morning.
Yes, Monday morning. Sorry, my heart rate's gone up because of that conversation. I'm trying to bring it back down.
You start.
Who else do we? I know I did. I know I did. Oh God. Anyway, a player that I've got a bit more time to discuss, or maybe a little bit less emotion. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Now, given our midfield situation from last season, I think we're desperately in need for a midfielder of number 6 quality, possibly number 8 quality. MisterK, we've kind of touched on. I'm not sure we're going to have the same player back, even after the injuries. Sorry, even after coming back from the injuries. There just seems to be something now, given what's happened post-season. I just don't think it's ever going to be the same with him, unless they I don't know what they're going to sort out with him and Son. I don't believe what I'm seeing about, yes, forgiven, no problems, you just make teammate. I wouldn't be so happy. But Pierre-Emile Højbjerg wanted to leave. Again, got some suitors. Would you say that he could possibly get an opportunity if, let's say, the likes of MisterK was going to have to go? We don't get Conor Gallagher, blah, blah, blah. Do you think Pierre would be someone that we should be looking to keep, Darius?
Let me ask this question. I think the only thing I can really say on Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is this, and it's sort of a question that goes out to you all. Is his contribution to next season, a year's worth of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, is his contribution to our team going to be worth the transfer fee that we could get for him this year. Because if I was him, I'm not signing another deal because I'm saying his contract ends next year, if I'm not mistaken. So you have to value, and this is why I'm asking you guys: do you value a year of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg playing a bit part role, or the transfer fee that you could get for him this season following a pretty good spell at the Euros? So that's what I'm at. That's what, because I don't know the answer. In my head, I'm thinking, is a year of Højbjerg playing, a few minutes here and there in competitions worth getting, I don't know how much you're going to get, 20 million for him. That's the sort of dilemma I have right now. So I kind of am asking you guys what you think on that, and guess we can discuss from there.
I would say if someone offers us 20 million, we take the 20 million.
I agree.
I agree with that too.
Fair. And that's what I'm leaning towards as well. Like in my head,
I mean, my only problem is that the number of suitors seems to have gone down.
Because they know that they can get him for free.
They're
thinking in their head, look, mate, you're not disliked at Tottenham. They don't hate you. They'll still play you. Play a year more. You're 28 years old, 29, entering your prime. Get a big contract like you were talking about with Tony, Sam. Because if you do go on a free, you could be pushing that 100, 150 potentially. And he could also broaden his sort of suitors because, teams like PSG, teams like Bayern Munich will sign, like Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I know he's been at Bayern Munich. If they've signed Paulinho right now, I'm sure Pierre-Emile Højbjerg wouldn't mind playing a bit part role at Bayern Munich where he could win the trophy. He could play under, in the Champions League at the Allianz. Kimmich, I don't think is going to stay at Bayern Munich for long as well. So there's clubs where if you leave on a free, you're going to broaden your chances, broaden your sort of possibilities of moving to a better situation. So for me, I just think he's gonna, in the end, I think Højbjerg is gonna be happy to stay for a year and then leave on a free. That's what I think is gonna happen. But what you're saying, Sean, if you get 20 million, I would take the 20 million, but I do think we'd have to bring in two midfielders given the Bentancur situation on top of Archie Gray.
I think 20 million is. I don't think he wants to stay. I don't think he's going to be staying at Spurs, getting big games here. I think he'd probably want to move somewhere.
I think he's such a professional that he'll want a rhythm of playing every week.
Yeah,
and he'll go somewhere. He'll choose where he wants to go, but I do think he'll go this summer.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's got a suitor in Fenerbahce because Mourinho's the coach there now. He's also got links because he's got an Italian agent, so there'll be clubs in Italy that might want him.
He'd be perfect in Italy as well.
Yeah, I think he'd be great in Italy. Look, defensive midfielders are well.
Could Conte even look to bring him to Napoli?
Was he close to Conte?
I think Conte appreciated his attitude. I think he appreciated his
possibly. I think there will be teams that will come in for him.
I agree.
And I want us to bring some money in. We can't do a tangay to everybody.
Yeah, I think we'll get something for him. I think he's had a decent Euros, and I think he's sort of put him in the market. Not a lot of clubs have come in for him yet, but I think there are suitors just waiting. I think they're waiting.
It's last minute, isn't it?
Do you know who
a year left? You want to just throw in a bit, see what happens.
Do you know who I compare him to in terms of a player that is a bit mismaligned, if that's a phrase? Maybe because we see more of the mistakes than we do of the actual qualities. Because I've seen qualities of him playing in these Euros with Højbjerg, and I've seen that at international level, which means that he's got the ability. But Granit Xhaka, when he was at Arsenal, they wanted him out, literally wanted him out. And look what he's done. Look how he, as a player, has become. Even when he was he played that final season at Arsenal when it was like, bloody hell, maybe we don't want him out now.
Yeah, true.
It was too late. I'm feeling this. I've got the same sort of vibes about him.
Yeah.
In that sense, that if he goes to another club, I think he'll do really well. And I think why hasn't he done that for us? But we see him so close up that we don't see that. We see everything. And and again, I look at the same thing with bloody Basuma. When I see him at Brighton, I was like, my God, yeah. But when you see him up close, I understand why that he hasn't been suited by some of those other bigger clubs. because he seems to only want to get his game up for those big games. I'm not sure Hobe's quite like that, but I do have that sort of degree that he does want to play in them big games, the Champions Leagues, all the rest of that. So because of that, if someone does come in that's going to offer him that, I think he'd go, and I think he wants to go. But I just have this sort of like churning feeling that I'll think he's a player.
You will regret it, but again, you just got to accept it.
I think as long as he stays in one of the top 5 leagues, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, I just feel like he's what. I know what you guys are saying, and I do think that is his character is to not want to sort of play a bit part role. But if your agent tells you, I can get you a move to Bayern Munich, or I can get you a move to a PSG or a Juve if you stay for a year, I don't think it would be too far against him to stay as well. So as much as I do agree with you guys and lean towards us selling him, I wouldn't be surprised if he was still a Tottenham player, especially given the Bentancur situation now as well. So
yeah, that's what I mean. He's a professional, and he's got that Viking spirit about him. He's a fighter. You know what? If his attitude's right, and they say to him, listen, if you got to be honest with this player, listen, we've got 4 competitions to play next season. If you stay, you're not going to play every single game, but we're going to put you in as much as possible where you need it, depending on. And I'm sure he'd accept that if he's got 1 year left in his contract, we'd have to take the risk of losing for free next year. But I don't think he would be, I'm hanging up, I'm not playing, my boots are done, I'm not doing this. I think he'd be professional in that sense. So again, I hope we don't live to regret it, but we don't know. He's still a Spurs man.
Leave him behind on the pre-season tour. That'll concentrate his mind.
Very true. Very, very true. A couple of comments here. I'm sure it's Hobier profile improved from Euros. Sell for 22 million. Take the money already, is JJ saying. Emerson,
I think that was about Emerson Royal.
Yeah. Emerson is 15 mil. That's what I was going to come back to. Yeah, well, we'll see.
I mean, if you get 20 million, 15, if you get 35 mil for Emerson and Højbjerg, significant money that is, to be fair, putting that towards, a player. So
he threw more than one bottle, so he looked like he was getting aggro. Anyway, I said we were going to do just about an hour, which is just about. So, final thoughts, everybody, regarding England being in the final and the Spurs pre-season starting next week. Final thoughts. I'll start with you, Sid.
I'll start. Go on. You know what? I hope England save the best till last and put in a top draw performance, because the last thing I want to do is sleep on Sunday, right? So best of luck to them. I just hope they go out there and, you know what, second Euros on the bounce on away soil. I hope they do it. I don't think they will, but I hope they do and put in a good performance and do it. And as for Spurs, Euros is finishing on Sunday. Ange wants his players in quickly for pre-season so he can put them in the squad and they can bond together and have a pre-season together. So I hope within the next week and a half, 2 weeks, the transfers get done quick. I don't want none of this bullshit lastminute.com shit.
Okay. Well, you're going to get it anyway because this is Spurs. Tottenham Tifosi.
About the European Championships, I have to say I fully expect Spain to win the game. But if there is an England win scenario, I really hope that it's Harry Kane that scores the winner.
Yeah,
that's my only wish.
I don't even. You know what? If I was Gareth Southgate, it's not going to happen. But it's a massive decision whether to start him because I think he's playing.
Of course, you have to start him.
He's playing injured. He's playing injured. He's injured, literally. I'm telling you, he is not that player that played at the end of last season for Bayern Munich. I'm telling you, he's not. He ain't scored. What goals? He scored.
Yeah, he's top goal scorer.
How many goals he got?
He's on 3. I mean, there's about 5 of them on 3 goals, but him and Olmo are the only people, and I guess Yamal, because Yamal scored a goal. But him and Olmo have the only chance of getting Golden Boot. Okay. So,
yeah.
He's got to start, man. Let's not have a repeat of Liverpool Tottenham 2019 all over again.
I think he's
as much as as much as we wanted Lucas to start, and I guess Lucas should have started, but for me, it's like it's in that situation. Kane was injured. He was coming back from an injury. He's not injured in this situation, so I guess he can just. You can bring him off at 60. What's in the harm in bringing him off at 60 again?
So that's my wish for Sunday. And then I'm not worried about the transfer window. It will take care of itself. We don't go to. I was just looking it up. We don't actually. Our first game
it's 4th of August, isn't it? We play Bayern in Korea, if I'm right.
Yeah, we've got a game on the 27th of July in Japan, and then another one the following Wednesday in Seoul, and then one the following Saturday, the 3rd. So, you know, and we're playing QPR a week on Saturdays, a week tomorrow. So there's plenty of time. Yeah, I'm not getting too upset. There's plenty of time, and we'll try and get them in. You know, I'm sure Andy's speaking to Lange every day at Hotspur Way now that they're back in, saying what's happened to X, what's happened to Y. You know, when's my Zoom call?
Darius, final thoughts, England, and how you feeling about the transfers, I guess?
I feel like people forget that England were literally favourites or one of the favourites to win this tournament. So being in the final only surprises people because we've been lacklustre for the whole tournament. Had we bought teams like we should have been doing, I don't think the glory and euphoria would be as high. Despite that, we are in a final, so whatever happens, happens. Spain is still going to win. And in terms of Tottenham, I feel like I'm starting to get into that feeling of like reading every little detail of every little signing and getting excited when I see links to players that I like. And I feel like I just need to take a step back because there's still a lot of time to go. And, you know, we all go through that getting excited and seeing all the new signings. And, you know, when it comes to the start of the season, it could be different. So I'm just going to take it day by day, see what happens. As soon as a player is on, you know, holding up that shirt, then I can talk about it and be excited. But yeah, I've already started to slip into that, going and looking at stupid Twitter accounts with 10,000 followers thinking that they've got information when really they have their own agendas. So yeah, I'm taking a step back from the Tottenham transfer cycle because it's not healthy for anyone. It's really not.
It's hard because you get excited, done it for years, and then you kind of get well, like I said,
it's not disappointment. It's just like you have so many expectations that you almost disappoint yourself, don't you? And Tottenham,
to be honest with you, I'll be more disappointed if we don't get rid of some players than players that we get in. I want to give youngsters an opportunity, whether they're bought or whether they're in our academy, whatever. I want to see more of them got an opportunity next season rather than some of the old guard. Hence the reason why I'm saying I just want some of these players gone, because then you have to. If you don't get it right in the transfer, you have to use youngsters. We're not going to take that risk, I know, but that's how I'd be looking at it. If we're trying to get to this new level, and it looks like we have got a bit of a thought process in terms of the younger players that we are getting in. My thoughts are for England, I think people ain't going to necessarily agree, but I would be looking to start Ollie Watkins. The reason I've been saying that is because I think to play Spain, you're going to have to play more of the counter. I don't think Harry offers that stretching the other way. And I think you could bring Harry on when there's more time. Sorry, with 60 minutes gone, because 2 reasons for that. You bring him on, and then if you do go to extra time, you're guaranteed to have him as a penalty taker. If you take him off, you haven't. And I know that England didn't rely on him to take the penalties last time, but certainly one of the players who scored the most penalties for England, you'd want him to be taking the penalties, surely.
Fair.
But that's just my thoughts. I don't know what you guys think. Let us know in them comments, in the chat, whatever. Let us know how you feel about the show as well. And make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Paxton Road TV, PRTV Spurs as of 1st of August. So make sure you look out for the change. Catch us on Twitter, X. Catch us on.
And I will be doing a on the whistle report from Wednesday's game where Spurs are playing Hearts in their first pre-season, or their first open pre-season game. I'm taking the train through to Edinburgh. I'll have to wash myself afterwards because there's the odd rivalry between Glasgow and Edinburgh. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of our new young players.
Do you want to answer this quickly from our friend Milton?
How long have you followed Spurs? Since about 1967. The FA Cup, when they won the FA Cup in 1967. The first game I went to was 20th of January 1968. Spurs beat Arsenal 1-0. Alan Gilsey.
Oh, bloody hell.
Jeez.
I can't bring out the exact dates of our first game.
Special.
I can't. But that's good. Darius? Milton wants to know.
And it was my dad. It was my dad as well that made me a Spurs fan.
Just a small 20 years. Not seen Spurs win a trophy in my lifetime, unfortunately. Well, we've seen us win one. Let me say that. Seen us win one trophy in my lifetime. But yeah, let's just say I didn't have a choice to support Tottenham. But there's no regrets. There's no regrets. When I say that, there is no regrets.
There's no regrets. Goodbye.
But let's just say I did not have a choice.
I did have a bit of a choice, but I was still smooched by Spurs in 1981. Ricky Villa. That's it. That's it. That's all I was. I'm not going to even say how old, I will say I was 8-9 years old, and it was just, oh my god, because you used to do that sort of stuff in the playground, and that's when you saw someone do it in a final. It's like, oh no. As a kid, it's just wild. So that was it for me. After that, it was all Spurs. And
I'd probably say the player for me when I was growing up would probably be Jermaine Defoe, just from memory. But I think in terms of impact, in terms of since I've been supporting, it'd be Bale or Son. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't Bale or Son. Kane's up there as well, but Bale for me, that's the exact same reaction I had when Bale scored that goal in his last game against Sunderland. That's the exact same reaction I had. I said, right. What the hell?
Bale,
go to Real Madrid and do the same thing.
Bale, fantastic, but I'm going to throw a name in here, and proper Spurs fans will know. Glenn Hoddle, best player I've seen play at Spurs. Best player in terms of he was way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time.
I went from Greaves to Hoddle, and then there's been a few since.
Yeah, I agree. Gareth Bale, you can't knock him, but when you see some of them grainy pics of what bloody hell Glenn Hoddle was doing on some of them pitches as well, oh Jesus Christ, he was unbelievable.
If Hughes is being serious about that, then that's absolutely hilarious.
You got screwed, Hughes, because that was the City final. Had you chose City, had I chose City that day,
if he'd chosen City, he would have been down in the third division.
Long-term gratification, that would have been long-term gratification. He'd be laughing now, but
had you had foresight back then to know that would have been the case 40 odd years later, oh my goodness.
In the future, he would have been happy, but he wouldn't have been too happy for at least 20 years before that.
Yeah, you'd have seen some bad days.
You'd have seen some bad
days. He would have taken up beach volleyball.
They did have Sean Gota. They did have Sean Gota, feed the goat. But yeah, that was a long time ago. So that's our history about where we got to from being Spurs fans. Thank you for that, Milton. That was quite a little
good question.
Like that.
Yeah, glad to have you on as part of the family. If you're new
from Australia. So that is that. Good luck to England come Sunday. I think you can do it, but I think you're gonna have to maybe pull a surprise here, Gareth. You've done one already in that semi-final.
No, you've done well for one game. Let's wind it in. You've done well for one game. That's it. Yeah. That is it.
Not many managers of England can get you to 2 finals in a row in major competitions, and he's done that.
Not many managers not many managers drop about 4 left wingers, bring one and not even play them.
So we can go into semantics about Gareth Southgate.
Let's not get into Gareth Southgate talk, because that could be a talking points in itself, which I would host. And
just be thankful he's not coming to join us as the coach next season.
Yes. Man United, look out. I think he's getting Man U at some point.
Nah,
you don't think so? I think they've got
Ineos are too smart for that. They wouldn't do that.
No. That's why I think they're going to get him in, because that's the ideal person for them. He will deal with the pressing and even if they'd been. Look at what my man had to do. Eric Ten Hag became a professional liar. He became a professional liar. He told people that Man United team were good. He told everybody.
He screams interim manager. If it goes to shit, then I can see potentially. But Enough about Gareth Southgate.
Yeah,
Come
enough
on,
about
England.
this. We've got to go.
Come on,
Thank
England.
you, Sean. One more comment here. Just like and sub, guys. Make sure you
Milton's
do listen
spitting.
to Milton.
He knows
Milton's
what he's talking
telling
about.
you truth here. He's a truth teller. Tell him, Milton. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe. Or no, can you hit the subscribe button? Yes, you can, obviously.
Yeah,
and comment.
Hit the notification bell.
Yeah, notifications.
That is it. We're going out with some decent drill music, as I like that one, and it is this one. So thank you very much. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Darius. We are out. We'll see you again very soon. Make sure you check us out. PRTV Spurs, 1st of August. Paxton Road will be a library of old stuff, but good stuff. See you later.
More developed football.